This will be for the con exercise, multi-step linear inequalities. All right, here they want us to solve for W, reduce any fractions to lowest terms, don't round the answer, and don't use mixed fractions. All right, so here is the equation. So solving the inequality is basically the same as solving the equation if it had an equal sign. Okay, there's just one thing you want to remember. Okay, you might want to write this down, and I'm going to give you a quick example. But you want to know that if you multiply or divide each side by a negative number, you must reverse the inequality symbol. Okay, so I'll show you a quick example of that. All right, just real quick. Let's say you end up with negative x is less than 5, and you're trying to solve for x. Well, since it's negative x, of course, you would just multiply both sides by -1. All right, so we'll do that on the left, and then we'll do that on the right. Okay, I just did the same thing to both sides. -1 times negative x is positive x. 5 times -1 is -5. And now instead of the symbol, inequality symbol pointing to the left, we're going to make it point to the right. So that would be your answer. All right, so if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, make sure you switch the inequality symbol. All right, here's our first problem. And I typically, when we have a variable, I typically subtract the smaller one. So I keep the coefficient on the variable positive. So since 53 is less than 56, I'm going to subtract 53W from both sides. All right, it cancels here. 56 minus 53 is 3, and we still have the W. Okay, and since the variables are here, I want the constant term on the other side. Opposite of plus 16 is minus 16. So I just do that to both. It cancels here. 13 minus 16 is -3. And I want to bring down the inequality symbol. Okay, it's pointing to the left. All right, I did not divide or multiply by a negative, so I kept the direction of the sign or the symbol. W times 3, opposite of times 3 is divided by 3. Okay, -3 divided by 3 is -1. 3 over 3 cancels. And W is greater than -1. Sometimes, really, it's better to write the variable first. So if you want to rewrite it, W is greater than -1. So in the box, click inside the box, W and the greater than symbol, and then -1. Okay? Remember, the arrow points to the less than side. So since W is greater than, the arrow is not pointing at the W. All right, here we have our inequality equation. Now, I said last time, I always subtract the smaller coefficient with the variable, okay? So in this case, I would do minus 36 on both sides. But let's see what happens, just so I can prove it to you, if we subtract the bigger one. Okay, 64 is greater than 36. I'm going to do minus 64n on both sides. 64 minus 64n cancels. 36 minus 64, let's see, 6 minus 4 is 2. Actually, I should subtract going up. All right, use the calculator if you have to. Let me see, 4 minus 6 is 8. 14 minus 6 is 8, and then this would be a 5. 5 minus 3 is 2, but that's a -28n. Okay, use your calculator if you need to. 36 minus 64 is negative 28. We still have the n. All right, and since the variables are on the right, I want to get the constant terms on the other side. Opposite of negative 16 is positive 16. 16 minus 16 cancels. Negative 6 plus 16 is positive 10. We did not divide or multiply by a negative, so I'm just going to bring down the sign as is. Okay. Now, solving for n is times negative 28. I'm going to divide by negative 28 on both sides. All right, negative 28 over negative 28 cancels. But since we divided both sides by a negative, I need to reverse this sign. So 10 over negative 28, that's the same as negative 10 over 28. And this gets reversed. Instead of pointing to the right, it's going to point to the left, and we still have n. Okay, remember they said we have to reduce fractions. These are both even. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So n is greater than or equal to negative 5 over 14. All right, like I said, I think it's easier to subtract the smaller coefficient with the variable so you don't have to reverse the sign. All right, but if you happen to get a negative times the variable, you're going to divide by that negative. You need to reverse the inequality symbol. Anyhow, n is greater than or equal to negative 5 over 14. All right, click in the box. N is greater than or equal to. All right, make sure you choose the right one. Greater than or equal to. If you just choose greater than, it's going to be wrong. All right, greater than or equal to. That line on the bottom is also equal to. And then I'll type negative 5/14. So that's it.